Hello friends, as we tie up or round up on Lewis structures and rules for drawing Lewis structures, it is important I mention that there are exceptions to the octet rule. All right, so many covalent molecules, of course, they will have central atoms that do not have 8 electrons in their Lewis structures. Okay, some of these will even have more than 8 electrons, and that violates the octet rule. And some of these molecules that violate the octet rule fall into 3 categories. Okay, the first one is called electron deficient molecules. Okay, these are molecules that don't have enough valence electron to even reach the octet in the first instance. Okay, we're talking about elements like hydrogen, beryllium, and boron. These elements make what we call electron deficient molecules. Okay, and of course these molecules wouldn't have enough valence electron to even contemplate making of multiple bonds. Okay, example of some of these molecules are seen in the structure of boron trihydride, and of course you can as well see it in beryllium dihydride. Okay, if you look at beryllium dihydride, you see that it has a maximum of what? Beryllium has a maximum of 2 plus 2, 4 electrons around it. That is because it doesn't have enough electrons to even reach the octet. All right, nice. And the same thing is seen in boron trihydride. Okay, you see that boron can make 3 covalent bonds with 3 terminal atoms having the maximum of 2, 4, 6 electrons. It's not up to 8 electrons in the valence share, and that is how far it can go as far as covalent bond formation. All right, so these now molecules that are made from hydrogen, beryllium, and boron, okay, make what we call electron deficient molecules, and they violate the octet rule. Okay, second group is what we call hypervalent molecules. This is the opposite of what we have here. Here are molecules that have more than enough valence, that have more valence electrons that are required. Okay, and that happens because of they have more expanded number of orbitals. Okay, if you look at elements in the second period of the periodic table, that's the elements that fall into, that has the principal quantum number 2, okay, that have 2 shells. Okay, you see that they can take up to 8 electrons in, of course, their valence shells. Okay, in their valence shell, we are going to have the 1, 2s orbital, and of course 3 2p orbitals, making a total number of 4 orbitals, and those 4 orbitals can carry 2 electrons each. And this is basic, this is what we know. However, as you move to the third, all right, and higher periods, that's periods where you have the principal quantum number, equal to and greater than 3, okay, 3, 4, 5, as you are going on, you now begin to see that these elements in this period of the periodic table have more than 4 orbitals now that can carry an electron. They have more carrying capacity. So unlike those in period 2 that have only 1 2s orbital and of course 2p orbitals, you also now have 3s orbital and so on and so forth. So that expands the carrying capacity of such elements, and they become hypervalent. Okay, they now end up having more number of electrons, than can meet for 8 valence electron as we have in the octet rule. So that way they can take more than 4 pairs of electrons in their valence shell, which comes in form of lone pairs or bonded pairs shared with other atoms. Okay, so molecules formed by these elements are also known as hypervalent molecules, and this can be seen in phosphorus pentachloride and of course xenon tetrafluoride. All right, if you look at the structure of phosphorus pentachloride, you discover you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 electrons, of course, in the 5 bonds you have around phosphorus. You see it? So this is an exception to the octet rule, because in the octet rule we're expecting to have 8 valence electron, but here we have 10, all right? And this is because of what I just explained. Nice. So when we write the Lewis structures of hypervalent molecules, of course, we're definitely going to have leftover electrons after filling the valence shell of the outer atoms, okay, with 8 electrons, okay? Of course, these additional electrons must be assigned to the central atom. Must be assigned to the central atom. It could be in form of lone pairs of electron, as you see in xenon, all right? Xenon tetrafluoride, because if you watch closely, you see that you have 2, 4, 6, 8. So we have 4 shared pairs of electron giving us 8, but you have 2 lone pairs, okay? At the end of the day, you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So you have 12 electrons around xenon, all right, in xenon tetrafluoride. And that, of course, violates the octet rule. And this is because of what we told you. It has more number of valence orbitals, okay? So it has more than 4 valence orbitals. So it has more carrying capacity for what? Electrons. And those electrons those additional electrons must be assigned to the central atom, okay? In this case, it was assigned as a shared pair, because you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all right? But here you have, of course, 4 shared pairs and 2 lone pairs of electrons, all right? So here, phosphorus has 10 electrons. Here, xenon has 12 electrons. These are exceptions. So such molecules are called hypervalent molecules because they contain more number of electrons in their valence shell required when you are talking about obeying the octet rule. Nice. Okay, and the third category or the third group here are what we call odd electron molecules, or what we know as free radical molecules. Free radical molecules, of course, are neutral molecules that will have at least 1 unpaired electron in their outermost shell. Example of that is nitric oxide, all right? If you want to look at the total number of valence electron in nitric oxide, okay, of course, valence electron for nitrogen is 5, valence electron for oxygen is 6. So at the end of the day, you have 11 valence electrons. Had it been we have 6 and 6, it would have been 12. And at the end of the day, we're not going to have a violation to the octet rule. But whenever you have radicals, free radicals, of course, those molecules that end up having an odd number, okay, in terms of their valence electron, you are definitely going to have a violation to the octet rule. What are we talking about? So if we want to draw the Lewis structure of nitric oxide, of course, you have 11 electrons to work with, all right? You make a single covalent bond between the 2 atoms, okay? Next thing you do is to find a way and satisfy the octet of one of the atoms, usually the oxygen. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8. Oxygen is okay. And of course, the remaining 3 electrons are placed where? On the nitrogen, a lone pair of electron and 1 unpaired electron. If you check now, you see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. That's 11. You see 1 unpaired electron. That's 1 unpaired electron makes this particular molecule what you call a free radical, because free radicals are not ionic species. No, they are neutral molecules, but they must contain 1 unpaired electron. So what happens here, in a bid to satisfy the octets, all right, of both molecules, oxygen doesn't mind. Magnanimously, oxygen dares to, of course, use one of its lone pairs electron to form a double bond. Oxygen here is trying all its best to see if it can satisfy the octet of nitrogen. At best, it will not be able to do that, but at best, it will give us a preferred structure that is close enough to the octet. But at the end of the day, it's still not the octet. So when this lone pair of electron comes here, it makes a double bond rather, all right, with nitrogen. At the end of the day, we now have 2, 4, 6, 8. Remember, each of these is 2. So you have 4 bonds here, or 4 electrons here, 6 and 8. Oxygen is okay. But because there is only 1 unpaired electron here, it can never be 8, all right? It can never be 8. So you have 2, 4, 6, and 7. Oh, okay, if oxygen decides to, okay, let me give up this my lone pair of electron and come here. Yes, oxygen will now become 2, 4, 6, 8. But you're not still creating more problem for nitrogen, because at the end of the day, here if you check it, if you have 3 bonds here, it becomes 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So that odd number of valence electron is a problem. It cannot allow us to draw a Lewis structure that will satisfy the octet rule. So this is the best structure we can get. At the end of the day, nitrogen is going to have 7 valence electrons, while oxygen is having what? 8 valence electrons. Okay, right. Nice. So in summary, odd electrons, molecules like what we call free radicals or electron deficient molecules or hypervalent molecules, all of these molecules are seen to violate the octet rule. I don't know if you learned anything in this video. If you learned anything in this lecture, the way we started from day one to begin to break it down, the Lewis structures down to the last video on Lewis structure, kindly like, love, comment and share. All right, when you do this, you are enabling other students who may be interested in learning some of these things we are teaching in chemistry, who want to have a strong grip of chemistry. All right, you share these videos so that they can see it. All right, and I'm paying attention to all of you who are following my videos, who are making comments, and the only thing I want to tell you is that as you continue hanging on with us in Chem Class with Dr. Luther, your chemistry will continue to get better and better, even best. All right, still in the festive period, compliments of the season, and I wish you a happy new year in advance. Bye. Stay safe.